Yeah, I think it's a great question. Sometimes the reality of it is it takes multiple partners to make it work. Maybe us and David's team at Tim's, and then a product content partner like DDS, kind of all come together to fit the puzzle pieces for you. So some of that can be a challenge. There's multiple vendors, but we want to do our part to make this cohesive, and we've done so many together now that I think we have that process down pat. So I think that's an initial thing. And what the one piece of advice I would give to anybody, you do not have to hire an e-commerce specialist, but I would have at least one person as the point person for that software, whether it's your sales leader, your marketing leader, somebody on the finance side. I would have somebody who is the main point of contact that's responsible for that. And kind of what we see a lot of times is people will have multiple different leaders and different functions involved, and each one of them is responsible for one portion of the e-commerce software. Number of ways to go about it, but that's the biggest barrier. I think a lot of people think they have to have a full-time resource dedicated to it. That certainly doesn't hurt, but you do not have to have that in place.
Thank you, CJ. And David, to extend that question to you, what are you seeing as the main challenges or barriers in the adoption of such technologies?
Um, you know, there's always going to be the labor challenge, right? The individuals. You have all these great software applications at your disposal, but then how best do you onboard those, right? And so that becomes a real challenge, across the board. Large organizations maybe have the resources, but they're just tapped out with projects, or the smaller distributor just lacks the resources to begin with. So our view is, as a software developer and ERP provider, is what can we do to help reduce that challenge. And so we do this in many ways. Well, one is we have a great team to help implement our software for a new distributor. So we're heavy on the resources to help, guide them through that process. And a lot of it's pre-planning. So for example, we have our pre-implementation meetings here at our main headquarters in Billings, Montana, where we meet with the distributor for several days, walk through the system, walk through their business processes to make sure that, hey, this is how we're gonna, what our plan of attack is. It actually starts before that, where we'll have our sales reps on site to really be have eyes on the ground, kind of what Roy had mentioned about walking around the plant or the space with a clipboard to say, how do you run your business? So we don't want to overscope, we don't want to underscope. So that's the human element side of the equation. And then if you take a look at the software side of the equation, that's where, our role and our responsibility is, how do we innovate and how do we evolve our product, the Tim's platform, so that it becomes easier to use on a day-to-day basis. So the onboarding of a new employee, which is everyone's, challenge, is really, really critical. And then with AI, what we're doing also internally is, how can we start to use AI to just mine that data from, support tickets that we get, year after year, to be able to analyze so that someone new can come on board and say, all right, I need to understand how this business process works from a Tim software perspective, or what are the steps to help them onboard, for example, our bulk gas solution or our ACM solution. So we have to rely upon AI as an organization, even though we also plan to incorporate that into the Tim's platform.